Hello and welcome to Blue Harvest Toys. On this video I'm going to be talking about toy packaging. Like pop music and football teams, the toys of our own childhood are always much better than everyone else's. Not for us utilitarian, worthy and slightly educational train sets of our parents' generation, or the cynically commercial film and TV tie-in toys of today's consumers. No, the toys of our own youth. The magical first wave of the Star Wars figures, Evil Keneivel stunt bike sets and the Transformers were proper toys, weren't they? Whatever the toy may mean to the companies manufacturing and marketing them, they are all just product, and like all product, they need packaging. If you haven't been to a toy shop since you were a kid, you'd probably be surprised at how much toy retailing has moved on over the intervening years, and nothing has changed quite so much as the way toys are packaged. Whereas once the averaging toy manufacturer's strategy was to plaster a simple box with an enormously exaggerated illustration promising much more than a £7.99 chunk of plastic inside the box could ever possibly deliver, today's manufacturers are aimed at a much more savvy audience. Not only do today's kids want to see the toys they've been lusting after for so long, they want to see what it does. They expect try me buttons to push so they can hear what kind of noises the toy makes, and they want branding so they can instantly relate to the toy to the TV series or film from which it has been inevitably spun off. They want to get straight to the very essence of the toy in roughly 5 seconds. If not, it's on to the next one. Toy packaging is a competitive and cutthroat game. It's the one area of packaging where manufacturers are prepared to use every single low down and dirty trick in the book to make sure they get their prey. It's no surprise then that it's a difficult discipline to get right. Jason Cordell, creative director at toy packaging design specialist Jumping Monkey, has been involved in the dark art of toy packaging for about 5 years, and through producing some work for some of the largest toy manufacturers in the world, has learnt every trick in the book. Toy packaging is a real balanced act. It's about making the toy inside the box look really exciting without misleading the kids, he says. Some product had huge illustrations on the front, and the products inside look really small and bear little resemblance to the design. We get asked to make things look more exciting all the time. It's difficult to get right. But has toy packaging always been like this? Did the dynamics of the packaging in the 50s and 60s work in a different way to the bells, whistles and try me buttons of today's toys? Stephen Clifton is one of the UK's leading authorities on the original geek-friendly sci-fi TV series Thunderbirds, and has a massive collection of original 1960s toys, many of them still housed in immaculate preserved packaging. Original Thunderbirds toys clearly originate from a more innocent age of toy packaging, when a fantastic illustration on a box roughly the same dimensions as the toy it housed was enough. Clifton says photography on toy packaging was extremely rare during the Thunderbirds' first 1960s heyday, but the packaging was an essential part of the overall experience. The packaging was very important, he says. Photography was rarely used on toy boxes, so the whole experience was akin to unwrapping a Christmas present. You were looking at artwork, but you weren't quite sure what was inside. The first wave of Thunderbird toys, like many of the toys produced in the 1950s and 1960s, were packaged in simple cardboard boxes with 2 colour print designs. Like contemporary folk packaging of the time, the designs were pared down to reflect the product inside. Although based on a popular TV programme, early Thunderbirds toys did little to anticipate the branding and the TV tie-in frenzy that was to dominate the toy industry from the mid-1970s onwards. Although Jason Cordell thinks the packaging design of Thunderbirds era was stylish and restrained, he believes it failed to join the gap between box on shelf and product. The Thunderbird boxes generally had great vivid colours and nice, exciting and dramatic illustrations. But what's the product? I think it's very important that the packaging tells us what the product is and how cool it is, and some of the Thunderbird stuff failed to do that. While TV and film tie-ins were important in the 1960s, it was during the 1970s that the successful cabal between toy manufacturers, toy companies and advertisers really came into its own. This was the era of global television trends and box office smash hits that would turn the way toys were marketed and sold upside down. The toy world was discovering the importance of branding. Branding became much more important in the 1970s, Jason Cordell says, and when that happened, the toys became less important than the brand. You were buying the brand, so the brand, the toy and the packaging all became part of the same thing. The 1970s were of course the start of the modern era of toy manufacturing. It was enough for toys to simply be part of a bigger whole for children to want them. This was the era of the Star Wars toy. The era which saw the now ubiquitous action figure creep onto our toy shop shelves, and the era where a big logo from a TV show or film plastered onto a box was enough to give the product visibility and presence. One of the real cross-Atlantic success stories in the mid-70s was Ideal Toys' Evil Keneivel stunt cycle set, which featured an all-American action illustration package and contained a toy dear to the memory of many a 30-something on both sides of the Atlantic. For Jason Cordell, the packaging of the Evil Keneivel toys was fantastic. This toy came out around the time when licensed toys started to hit the shops in a big way, and like a lot of modern licensed products, this shouts Evil Keneivel. It's beautifully illustrated, and more importantly, I think this will still stand a chance in the toy shops today. I'd buy one anyway. Once the toy industry had formed its symbiotic partnership with the TV industry, there was no turning back. The relationship really found its feet during the 1980s when the toy companies themselves funded cartoons and comics in order to create a market for toys. One such product line was the phenomenally successful Transformers. It tied seamlessly in with a range of comics and long-running animation series. Packaging for Transformers toys moved things on a bit, with the use of plastic molds, cut-out boxes and massive logos. I remember the packaging and it was fantastic, Caldwell says. The lessons and advancements made during the 1980s pretty much led the story up to the modern day, where the ubiquity of cutouts, plastic vac form moulds and try-me buttons were all important. But while today's toy packaging is certainly state-of-the-art, it's also probably racked up some of the very biggest crimes in the entire packaging industry in terms of excess and waste. Richard Bowman, a director of environmentally friendly toy manufacturer Rusimco, says the packaging used by the toy industry today is wasteful and bizarre in its nature. In response, his company has developed an egg box-like material called Gecko Pack, which is 100% biodegradable, recycled, and uses no wires, screws, ties or cellophane. It may be less eye-grabbing than much of the packaging it's competing with on the shelves, but it's far kinder to the environment. None of the big toy companies are really taking environmental concerns into account at the moment, says Bowman, but they will have to in the future. Whether or not the toy packaging industry will respond remains to be seen. For the moment though, the wasteful plastic and cardboard behemoths seem to be the order of the day. Perhaps it's time the industry went back to basics. I hope you enjoyed that look at toy packaging. I would like to do a follow-up video on the artwork on vintage toys, things like Airfix and Matchbox, talking about, and no pun intended here, the art of packaging. So let me know what toy packaging you liked as a kid. Please leave comments below and I'll include it in the video. So until next time, thank you for watching. May the toys be with you.